So if you're adding... Hello everyone, this is GT Time. I am your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Yep.
And Michael Damiani.
Hey.
How are you all feeling today?
He's still bouncing his mic.
Yeah, don't do that. It bothers the viewers.
Bothers the viewers?
Yeah.
They will have to deal with it.
I got new Infinity news this week, so I'm happy.
What Infinity news, just real quick, before we get into anything, what was the news that made you happy?
That there's just going to be a ton of Marvel characters. I thought there was going to be like 5.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I thought it was going to be... I didn't know it was going to be the next big thing in Infinity. They called it 2.0, which smelled like an update. I thought it was going to be like, this is just for current gen, or old gen. Here's like 4 or 5 Marvel characters, and then wait for more news at E3 of what we're actually going to do for the next big, like next gen PS4, Xbox One launch.
I see.
And it turned out to be, no, us and Marvel had 1,000 children, and they're all going to, be spawned on, the Infinity Universe. Plus, like, Merida and Stitch and some teases in there of other characters that they're...
Wait, who's Merida?
Merida is the redhead from Brave with the bow.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Who should be cool, because I like... Hawkeye looks really neat in Infinity.
Sure. So if you're adding Hawkeye, why not add Merida?
If you have those mechanics already built in, yeah.
We should say that this is Friday. The show goes up on Fridays now, and will for the foreseeable future. That's our time slot now. We're a Friday show.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, I'm okay with that. I feel like
Friday.
When a TV show goes to Friday, that means it's about to die. But when a podcast goes to Friday, I feel like that's a good sign. And we have a different vibe on a Friday. It's like, oh, this is a
feels
whole different.
Yeah,
it definitely feels different.
Well, I think it's also because we're shooting earlier than we used to shoot, so the lighting here is a little different.
It's good lighting, good moods. Look at Damiani and the good mood he's in this week, even. So let's start. Let's start with what I think is the biggest news this week.
The biggest news.
Nintendo announced its E3 plans.
Yeah.
Not the biggest news, apparently.
Nintendo did announce it.
Yeah, they had this amazing Mega 64 video. Yeah. Which kind of softened the blow of like what this news was. I mean, not necessarily soften the blow, but it's the sugar to make the medicine go down.
It's interesting to set it up as a joke, so you're waiting. They announce something, and you're like, that's funny. Wait, was that actually what they're doing? And they're like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this. And you're like, okay, is that really it, or is there another joke come? Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, just for everyone in the audience who may have not seen it, what they've announced. A Smash Brothers tournament in Nokia Theater, formerly where they would host their E3 press conferences.
Right.
A Smash Brothers nationwide demo thing where you can go to Best Buy and play Smash Brothers. A digital event, which is a Nintendo Direct, the same kind of thing we saw last year, most likely. And Treehouse Live at E3, which is basically Nintendo's own people doing a live show all day long at E3, doing interviews and getting exclusive access to games. Damiani, what excites you the most out of all those things?
I just want to say that people are making a bigger deal about them not having a press conference this year than I think. Let me step back.
Okay.
Last year, you mentioned it's to soften the blow. They had Mega 64.
Yeah.
And I think there was nothing to soften this time because last year was such a big deal because it was almost unheard of a big publisher not doing a press conference at E3.
Yeah.
One of the big 3, at least. So I think last year was ripping the Band-Aid off that, hey, this could be happening more and more. Like, get used to this concept of not doing a stage presentation where press gather and get to watch something live. And truth be told, like, while there's less opportunities for, like, weird gaffes to happen, it's still the same thing to the end user in terms of you're getting this video broadcast. You're getting the same type of information. It's just a little bit more rehearsed. I know we're going to miss, like, we were upset when Konami started doing that because we're not getting any more of those, like, cool Talk Fuji moments. But I think the most exciting thing is probably going to be the digital press conference. Like how they're not calling it Nintendo Direct, because I think the mistake last year is they called it a Nintendo Direct.
And it seemed not like a big deal.
It kind of diminished the impact of what that was going to be. This is like digital event. This like very generic term, but it's like ominous, like what's going to happen? Like, what are you going to show? And it's just going to be like a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, like Blood, what do you think of actually specifically those two words, digital event? To me, that means less than a regular event. Does that mean the same thing to you?
It does.
Diet event.
Yeah, exactly. To put the word digital in there makes it less than.
I think there's a lot of weird negatives with it because, for one, why have it on Tuesday morning then? When all of the press is going to be lined up outside of E3 waiting to get in, and they're going to be, struggling to watch a stream on their phone or something? At least when you're having the press conference, the press knows that they need to be there, and then they're covering it and they're discussing it and stuff like this. In a way, it's sort of like, well, maybe the press will pick it up now. I feel as it's like they're kind of like cutting themselves out of that broader audience of people that aren't going to necessarily know to be tuned in to Nintendo Direct and are just going to go to our site or GameSpot or something like that and look at the front page.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think actually each of these 4 things basically is telling the press that they are not important to Nintendo. The tournament, the thing where you can just go play it at Best Buy instead of relying on everyone giving them reports. Especially actually the Treehouse Live. Brandon, why would a person watch Spike All Access at E3 when they can watch Treehouse Live at E3?
Because the stuff that's going to be on Spike, that's going to be the stuff that everyone's going to want to watch. And that's the stuff that those companies are telling you, and not to jump the gun, but we're going to talk about Activision later having their own event. Mm-hmm. By them doing that, they're saying, I don't know what you're doing on this date, but I need you to sit in that chair, sit down and shut up, and I'm going to tell you something amazing. And that's what happens at E3, and that's why we get excited for these announcements. And what Nintendo's saying is, it's if you're busy, it's fine. You don't have to. There's no big deal. We're going to have a thing on the web.
Right.
It's recorded. We edit it. You can watch it anytime you want. It'll be available.
Yeah.
And, we'll be at our booth if you want to tune in anytime. But, I don't want to inconvenience you. Whereas, Microsoft and Sony are like, no, sit down and listen to what we have planned. And Nintendo's just not grabbing anybody that way. And, it may seem like they're breaking new ground with the Smash Brothers thing, but to me that just looks like, oh, crap, all we have is Smash Brothers on this console. What can we do with Smash Brothers? We need to do more stuff, and we need to make it look like, oh, we're really listening to fans now, and we're really giving them access, and look at our lovely Nintendo family, this community that we have, which is great. But when you're up against, these other big companies making these huge announcements, the Band-Aid has been ripped off.
I also think that the rehearsed factor of it, not that Nintendo is known for faking footage or anything, but it kind of has that layer to it. It's like, nothing can go wrong because they've already, vetted it and made sure that the footage is clean. But it also it gives that sense to where maybe the game runs as well, maybe it doesn't, right?
Yeah, there is something exciting to the live aspect of, will this Assassin's Creed trailer start hiccuping? Or
something exciting.
Yeah.
That's everything. Yeah. There's so many reasons why press conferences are exciting. And beyond all the gaffes and people screwing up, and that's why I don't watch figure skating, because every time somebody goes in the air, I'm just like, you're going to go right on your ass.
Oh, yeah, it's an anxious thing to watch.
It's just it's like when everyone was on edge before, because it was going to be called the PS4. I can't believe you even speculated it was going to be called anything else. We had no idea what that Xbox was going to be called. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, when Phil was on stage, and he's like, the Xbox, we're like, you could feel everybody being like, what is it going to be? And when they make an announcement Nintendo Direct, it's like, well, thousands of people might have seen this video before it went up. This moment was rehearsed. Certainly everyone in the room where it was recorded heard him say this. It just kind of diminishes on so many levels the excitement surrounding that announcement. Where if you have that guy alone on stage and it's like, he better, it's Adele Dazeem at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Travolta, rehearsing that so many times, and he gets up there and just can't do it because it's so exciting, because he can feel that pressure that Nintendo is completely erasing and being like, no big deal, it's E3 as usual, and it's not.
Yeah, and that so I'm of two minds of this, because I think business sense, it does totally make sense to make all of these decisions they just made. It makes sense to have this complete controlled thing that they give to everyone, but my heart says, man, I love when the versus 14 turns into 15 and a crowd roars. That's a good feeling, and you associate that with the game, and that's a thing you can't necessarily capture when you're doing a digital event. I feel.
Yeah, I don't know that you would have gotten that. If you're just in your room by yourself and that happened, and there was no audience noise, how exciting would that have been? Like necessarily, if we kind of have the benefit of like we have our own crowd here, right? Like everybody is gathered around these screens,
right?
But for the person at home, like when you don't have that element of other people watching with you, I think it does kind of pull it back a little bit.
Like, what excites you more, seeing Miyamoto like? They literally just marched a camera into my office and asked me a question, and so I'm responding to that on camera, and then that's going to be given to an editor, and then that editor's going to put in a video, and that's going to go up on the site. Or Shigeru Miyamoto walking out onto a stage in Los Angeles, California, in front of a screaming crowd and being like, "Hey, I want to tell you something." It's like, I have to listen to what this man has to say.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like cut to Miyamoto.
No, they're risking the excitement for the control. And that, I think they're aware of that. I do think they just don't think they have that excitement anymore, which is the thing.
Yeah.
I guess that's all. It is extremely interesting to me the way they are circumventing basically what we normally do with E3. They're saying we don't matter anymore in a strange way.
Well, what's funny to me is it's not like they're totally tuned out to the community, right? Because it's like. They've been working with Hey Ash. They've worked with Mega 64 several times.
Yeah. They're willing to show that they're willing. They're
willing to show those kinds of things, but I feel it's as if they want to interact with the community in a way that like nobody can like ask them a hard question or criticize them about anything, right?
Sure.
Like I think that's part of it. Like if something falls flat and you get those boos, you kind of don't want that either, right? It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's all a strange risk.
So the very last Nintendo press conference moment was that Nintendo Land fireworks show.
That is the end of the era of
that is it.
Live
that is the
press
ending of all of that.
Yeah.
what began with Miyamoto walking on stage with sword and shield to introduce Twilight Princess.
Yeah, or
with the fireworks.
Damiani walking on stage and like playing. Don't you personally feel affected by this, Damiani?
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet.
This anymore?
No. So I get the whole thing that like not having a live audience reaction takes away a lot from it. But I don't know if you guys are considering this, but this is going to be broadcast. I'm 100% sure it's going to be broadcast on like Twitch, and there's going to be the chat experience. And I know that's not what a lot of people are used to, like, at least a lot of us are, but I see how younger people get worked up by being a part of that chat experience, the Stream Monster experience, watching with other people. They're strangers, but like it's a vastly larger audience than you would have like in real time or at a real press conference, a physical location. And when you see like this crazy moment, like even though it's rehearsed and stuff, when they do those gag jokes, like Reggie popping out of the 3DS or something, the chat's gonna go nuts with all this stuff. Like you can't, like I can imagine like thousands of people just gonna be like screaming out loud, even though they're in their own room watching it, or they're in their dorm room, or they're in their parents' house or whatever. I think that's a different type of way to experience it. Like it's a different type of a group experience, even though you're isolated, you're connected through the internet and through like streaming. And I think that to some people is just as good as hearing like the crowd reaction. Like we've been to so many press conferences, we're used to that, and not hearing that, it's like that's weird. Like no one's cheering. Like aren't people gonna miss that? I think some people are gonna grow up like not ever caring or knowing about that. Like well, who cares if people are cheering? Like look at all the people in the chat like going woo, like LOL. I just imagine raise your dongers.
A GT countdown 10 years from now. We're like, man, remember that moment 10 years ago? God, look at that chat stream.
Woo! We're becoming digital creatures.
Look at those emojis. Boy, was that a memory.
But I mean, that's what that's everything they're doing. This E3 seems to be, it's an experiment. I'm not saying this is going to work. I think this is what they're going for, and I can see why they're going for it, because other things have proven that there is that kind of demand and audience for that, for a different type of like experience. The whole like Treehouse Live that just screams like, hey, people who can't come to E3, we're going to like stream you all the games, all the walkthroughs that you watch on our site or any other site. You don't need to go watch those anymore, because we're going to do it live, and like we're going to have like a chat window open. You guys could be asking the questions, so you don't have to have ex-journalists asking these questions for you, which does stink because they are going to screen the questions. They're going to pick the ones they like the best, but to the end user, they're going to be like, man, I can like get in there and ask Reggie a question, or I can ask Bill Trinan, like that's like the ultimate thing for like fans who are watching it. And I think Nintendo knows that. And well, I mean, it still remains to be seen how it plays out, but I think it could be turn out pretty well for them. And then other publishers like, hey, we should start getting streaming at E3 and like do this. Like, why do we need to
yeah.
forget scheduling appointments with these guys? Like, let's just stream this stuff and tell them like, oh, you can just record it. Like, you can repost it and stuff. Like,
yeah,
no
I know
issue.
Capcom does it. Basically, they stream all day. They do some cool stuff with it.
Oh,
yeah, at E3. Yeah, it makes total sense. To me, it's completely logical to do those things.
Well, yes and no though, because at the same time, like from stuff that we've done here, you know, I mean, a lot of the audience, like when we do an interview, they don't care. Like anything that person says from the company is like they discount it as marketing speak, right?
Right.
Like I've put up an interview and a field report at the same time with basically the same information, and the field report's done like double or quadruple the numbers of the interview because for whatever reason, people would rather hear what I think of it than what the guy that spent the last 2 years of his life making the game thinks of it. You know,
yeah. Well, I almost would. I'd rather hear what you think of it rather than what that guy thinks of it.
Right. So isn't
like the same thing.
So doesn't that mean that this kind of bypassing the press, you know, or you know, even if it's not necessarily press, but whoever. Having another perspective on it is kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, honestly, I think the role of games media going forward is going to be more and more opinion-based and less reporting. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think the reporting, they want to do all of that on their own.
I think that's what like audiences want. They want the first look of something through pristine, you know, view of the game. Like, this is your first experience in the game, gameplay. I want to see it looking good. I want to see someone who knows what they're doing playing it. But then afterwards, like, all right, was it really good though? Like, hey, I'm going to turn to like the sites I trust. Like, hey, you actually played it. Was it? I mean, it looked cool, but how did it feel playing it? Like, they're going to still want that information. But I think the time of the going in there, like posting like random gameplay of this footage from this game, from cam footage, like people would be like, they used to be so coveted. Now it's going to be like, who cares about that? Like, I saw like a 720p HD stream of this game, the entire demo. Why do I care about your cam footage? Unless you got, like, as I was saying, I think we were talking about earlier before the podcast yesterday, like, if you get something exclusive that like maybe part of a demo that no one has seen yet, then people are like, oh, there's this extra stuff. Like, that's gonna be hard to figure out. Like, that's gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I think publishers are starting more and more to see that. My concern is if everything keeps going this way, which this does sound cool, is this going to lead back to another thing of, is E3 going to become irrelevant? Like, why is there a giant event when all these publishers start realizing, wait, we could just stream all this? Like, they start thinking like that again. Like, we can just do our own events. Why do we even need E3? Like, I don't want it to go that way. I want them to realize that the reason this might work is because all these eyeballs are looking here now, because this is a giant week. Like, this week is like
collective of hype.
This is game week.
Yes.
Game hype week.
Yep.
Don't do crazy stuff like we'll be talking later, like Activision, like we do our own event for Call of Duty. We're not going to participate in, like, I don't know if they're doing anything for E3 for Call of Duty, but doing something ahead of time, it's like we gotta beat E3 because we're big enough. It's like, no, do that during E3. That's like the perfect time. Like, don't take away from E3, please. Don't do that.
We love E3 still.
Oh, it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered that.
I actually just went to the orthodontist this morning. She was like, "Well, your next appointment's going to be on June 12th."
No,
I was like, "No, it's not." Sorry. Like, all the people just kind of turn like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "That's Christmas for me, man. That's the best."
I'm curious. So, what did it take to explain what E3 was at the orthodontist?
Just video game event, and I mean, if they're in Southern California, and I explained it's in Southern California, you know, it's like that's always a big thing. You just say LA Convention Center, it's like, oh, you know.
The one time I got a massage, the guy goes like, "So what is your job?" I'm like, I make video game videos on this website. He's like, "Do you get to go to E3?" That was the only time in my life that ever happens. I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
There you go.
Weird. I never had a massage since. It's like a weird thing to spend money on. All right, before we move on, I want to know how many massages you guys get.
All the time.
Do you get massages all the time?
Every other week.
Really? I think that's like
okay.
Yeah.
It's a smart thing to do because you feel way better afterward.
Okay, so are we going to go on a tangent here?
We're going on a tangent.
What we're doing
this
right
is an
now,
official
like, sitting in chairs and all huddling together, like, this is not normal. Like, you need to, the next time you're in a meeting, you need to look at everybody. All of us around this table are like this.
Yeah.
And, like, human beings are not, for a long time, most of the time that human beings had feet and walked around on the planet, like, we didn't do this. Like, we didn't sit in chairs and
look
talk
at us
like
all
this.
adjust our postures now.
So, like, none of us spend any time actually, like, correcting that.
Sure.
You know? And so, yeah, it's... it's really easy for human beings to kind of get into this, like, Monty Burns kind of like hunched over state, and then be like, well, I'm just comfortable like this because you're used to it. And then, you just get like a good massage, and it's like, oh my god, no, I don't need to feel like that anymore.
Massages are more expensive than a video game, though, and I do think in that all the time. It's just like, oh, this is more expensive. This is hard for me to rationalize. Maybe I think like when I'm an adult, I'll finally do it.
Video games are the anti-massage.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so we did talk about the Call of Duty thing. Let's get into it. So this Sunday there will be a Call of Duty event, or actually, I don't think it's been called an event. That was me putting that onto it, and a Call of Duty announcement for the next Call of Duty game. They're going to just show us. They're going to reveal it, what that game is. Basically, what happened this time last year, I just looked this up. This is when, on May 1st of last year, they had that trailer where there's like the guy who like pulls up his like ghost mask, and like they all just show like all the different warriors of ghost masks. And for like a month, it was called Call of Duty Ghosts, and that's all we knew. Do we think this is going to be a substantial reveal? Or is this going to be another, like, oh, look at, like, our concept right now? Hey, everybody, Kyle here. This trailer leaked, and I will spare you 10 minutes of speculating on what it might be. I think we even said it might be an event. That's on me. Anyway, let's skip past that. We'll come back in about where Damiani's about to make a bet about what this game is going to be about. I feel like coming into this year, Call of Duty has to compete with other games more than it's used to. I feel like it has to show up, as opposed to, like, other years where it kind of seems like they're coasting. Like Black Ops 2, all right, guys. And they're just like, we're going to sell like crazy. And they did. Yeah, exactly. Sure, good job. I feel like they're coming to compete this year based on this one scared expression of this one man. But my impulse says I think it's going to actually be impressive what we see this weekend.
It's also intentional. Like, he has that look like, you don't even know, man.
You're right. What is he looking at?
This
what is
reveal?
He
oh, man, this crazy giant, Ed 209 that's going to walk through the door over there. Mm-hmm. You don't even know. We'll see.
What is Ed 209?
What is Ed 209?
Wow, really?
Yeah,
what is Ed 209? Daniel Bloodworth? Ed 209?
Do you know what it's from?
No, not this one.
They just remade the freaking movie this year.
209.
So it's a RoboCop reference?
Yeah.
It's the little thing that doesn't have arms.
That's a big
Or it has
thing,
gun arms. Yeah,
it's the one.
Definitely never.
They can't go upstairs or downstairs.
I'm glad I got it right. I'm glad it wasn't like Ed 309. It's like 309, Brandon. Like, oh, sorry.
I'm sure there's an Ed 309 somewhere.
So this game, you think is this gonna be our side bet? Is it gonna have mechs or not?
Sure.
I think it's gonna be like Vanquish. I think they're to go for high speed. Like the suits are gonna give them like greater speed, or maybe they can have like flying or something like rockets. I think they'll go for mobility. I don't think they're gonna go for like piloting mechs.
Like the Tom Cruise movie.
I think this. I think the catch could be like some kind of enhancements. Like that's judging from that suit, it's gonna be about like. Here are these cool new like guns are cool, but if we give your character like cool abilities to play with as well, and that's gonna like change things up.
Oh, sure, like you could feasibly like jump higher and run faster.
Yeah, like you could jump on top of a building, or you could break through a wall, or you have like super like run 4x speed or whatever. So maybe you have like a charge attack to like ram people instead of like the melee knife kill. It's now like the shoulder ram or something.
Or like a kind of radar vision type thing where instead of just hearing people running around, you could actually see them through a wall or something.
All right, I'll say this. I won't bet against you, but if you win, you get to wear a sheriff star. Like you get to be the sheriff of that next week's episode.
The sheriff?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right,
is it going to be that big, too? That's a pretty...
I don't know. It's honestly going to be whatever I can find at the dollar store, but you'll get a sheriff star.
All right.
Okay,
We're
cool.
down.
Done deal. This one's kind of a short story. Xbox One will launch in China in September. That's the same month they're launching in Japan, actually. Weird news, because for a very long time, 15 years, I guess, China has not officially allowed the sales of video game consoles.
Yep.
And so I thought, reading this headline, oh, this is a big deal. And then the more you uncover, the more you realize, like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a really strange thing.
All those systems had workarounds in the past. Like, Nintendo had the iQ brand that, like, it got around their definition of a home console or whatever.
Right.
So I remember, like, was it N64 had one, and they had, like, a GameCube version as well. And, like, the N64 version was, like, all, like, it was just weird. And it was a weird name. And I remember, like, man, like, what is this new iQ thing? Oh, it's just this weird version of Nintendo 64.
Yeah. There's always, like, a generation behind. It's, I think I saw some stuff that supposedly American McGee, knows the Chinese market really well and had a lot of criticisms.
He lives in China.
Yeah. And it's just, it sounds like it's one of these things where legally they're not being sold there, but yeah, there's still plenty being sold there.
Right, he said you can just go to an online store in China, order an Xbox One, and get it right now.
Just go to Play Asia.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Is that what they use, Play Asia?
So that's kind of weird because, like, in a way, like, to officially have a market there, they have to gimp themselves to whatever the Chinese government says, you know, they have to take out of it, whereas everyone can just buy the real one anyway, so why are they going to buy yours?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I feel like it's going to be the similar to the similar effect as the situation like in Brazil with consoles, just because the import tax makes no one buys a Brazilian PS4. They get it through other means. They just buy it on the gray market. I think that's going to be the same thing in China. They're like, oh, cool, like official release Xbox One. I already got one at like the gray market store over here because I didn't want to pay more, or it has all the features. It's not locked out from some things.
Yeah. And even then, like, just like the games that they can officially release, it's so tricky to release a game in China. I remember one time reading like funny like Chinese censorship facts. You can't have a skeleton move like it's alive. Like you can't show that on TV in China.
Well,
Isn't that funny? So like, there's like, so in your game you can't have a moving. Like, oh, what? How do I do this now? You know, like they have weird rules like that. Like you can't show anyone hurting a panda.
So no Tekken.
You don't want to.
No Tekken, exactly.
Right.
Like Tekken's out of this picture. Unless like, here's my workaround. I would give. What is Panda's name? Is Panda in Tekken, isn't it? Yeah, it's Kuma and Panda. So I would like give it a man's voice, so it's just like ow, and so it's like oh, Panda's clearly a man in a costume.
Put a zipper down the back.
Yeah. That's my workaround. But yeah, exactly. You have to make workarounds to release games in Japan. It's scary.
China.
China. Yeah.
And I mean, why put up with that? It's not like it's a big country or anything. You know, it's like what's the point? You know, it's not like anybody lives there.
Over 1 billion people. Yeah, I guess it's a very like different market, and it seems like if I get 1% of that billion people, I'm a millionaire. But
well, I mean, that's what I thought was funny. Like one of the points in that was like, oh, well, you know, Chinese kids they're too busy studying. I'm like, come on, really? Like, I don't buy into that. There's enough of a market there to sell a console of some kind.
And also, you can study and play video games.
Yeah.
It's like the American Nintendo games are like, you know, like 3DS. It's like, you've been playing for an hour. You should probably stop. You know? And like, it's the opposite of China. It's like, you should stop. We're doing your homework and play some more video games.
Yeah. I love that idea.
Video game alert.
So there was actually a Nintendo Direct, a surprise one this week for Mario Kart 8.
Watch it.
It was like a half hour long. Nice. Interesting. It was comedic. What it reminded me of is like the VHS tapes that you used to get, and it's just like goofy. It's like there's like goofy humor added into all the stuff they're actually showing you of the game. So it was kind of interesting.
The Nintendo VHS promo tapes, right?
Yeah.
For people who don't know what those are.
Fill everyone in for people who don't know what a Nintendo VHS promo tape is.
Oh, yeah. They used to be... You either got them through the Toys R Us or through some mailing list, or if you were
I got them through being on Nintendo Power.
Or Nintendo Power, though Nintendo Power didn't always send all of them out. They were like anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes long, and they usually had some really cheesy skit. Like the Donkey Kong one had this guy going to Nintendo headquarters, and like he's like, oh, we went to the cafeteria and like all the food was themed on banana stuff. It was like really weird. And then
my favorite's the Star Fox one with the Sony and
Sega that's legendary.
Yeah. They're trying to sneak.
They kidnap the test pilot, and then like they have like the Mario doll, like not the Mario in the torture chamber thing. And
so they
like,
put him in a vice and they squish Mario.
Yeah, and then they're gonna electrocute him and stuff.
So
and
weird.
the Sony and Sega guy were great. It was Sony and Sega at the time, which was like even funnier to go back and look at that. Like, people are like, wait, why is that like not Microsoft? It's like, well, they didn't exist back then.
Children.
Oh, they did. They just didn't make consoles.
Yeah, those were cool videos, and Nintendo's getting some of that back, like adding humor to the promotions, which I think is interesting. It doesn't all hit, but it's still fun to watch. The biggest news that came out of that thing, though, two things. One, there's going to be a bundle, a Wii U bundle.
And pink gold peach, right?
That's not news. If you want me to go on a rant, we can do that. But I'll save that for other times.
Peach gold medal?
Pink gold peach is the name of that character.
Pink gold peach.
Unlockable. Oh my! No, don't yet.
I know. I'm picking to race against Kyle all the time.
Baby Rosalina. Okay, so the Wii U bundle includes the Wii U, Mario Kart 8, an extra Wii Remote Plus, and an extra steering wheel that you can clip it into for $330. That seems like a high price still. especially considering what Microsoft did last month with their Titanfall bundle, when it was basically, a game for free. This is, a game and a controller for an extra $30.
And you get a digital download of one of 4 Wii U games.
That's also worth mentioning. Yeah, if you register your copy of Mario Kart 8, you get a free game with it.
Only one of 4. Pikmin 3, Wii Party U, the crappy Zelda HD.
Oh, no, Wind Waker HD.
New Super Mario Brothers, right? Not Super Mario. Which sucks because if you look at I don't know if it's Europe or just UK, they get a ton of games like Wonderful 101.
Monster Hunter, they get
Monster Hunter. It's like, really? We only get to pick from 4 games.
So Wonderful 101 is the one that you wanted, clearly.
Oh, if they were going to do that, I was like, I'll get Wonderful 101 now. Yeah. Now I'm like, I have to get Pikmin 3.
I'm going to get Pikmin 3 too, actually.
Yeah, I pretty much have to get Zelda.
Wait, Brandon, do you own a Pikmin 3?
Do I own a Pikmin 3?
Are you in on it? You nodded like, yeah, that's the one.
Well, I like Pikmin 3. Yeah, those I would probably pick that
if
I get the free game. Although I don't own a Wii U, and so
I don't feel like this is going to convince you. Will this ridiculous combo of things convince you?
The Wii U getting more expensive is not convincing me.
Yeah, exactly. It got more expensive.
Would you like to spend more money?
I think they missed a point there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the controller is a good idea, but they, I don't know. How many people really like using the wheel? Why didn't they just put a Pro controller in there, a red Pro controller?
Well, the wheel worked really well for the Wii, I think.
Can't you use the gamepad
stopped using it.
Yeah. No, you can. Yeah.
You can just tilt the gamepad. Why do you even need the wheel anymore? Other than
it's for second player.
Same screen multiplayer.
Okay.
Sitting on the couch with your friend. Like old times.
No, you get to play online. You don't.
But
need
I
to
can't
play
imagine being like, okay, here's your wheel. Like, come on, I lose. Now I lose.
I didn't like that at the E3 where they had Mario Kart playable last year. When people you either got the wheel or that, I was like, no, I'll wait for the next one. Exactly. I'll wait one more.
It's worth waiting another 15 minutes not to have to use that.
What's there like adversity to making a bundle with a brand new game that's like $2.99, and not Wind Waker HD, which is doesn't count.
I think they don't want to lose that much money on the thing. I don't think they're as committed as Microsoft is to the success of the Xbox One. I think Nintendo is not that committed to the success of the Wii U, and that's strange to me.
It's like that digital game is like, that's the extra $29.99 that you're paying for. It's like, you can get rid of the digital game, just make it $2.99.
Exactly.
Make the system $2.99. You don't need that extra game.
Like hearing even like digital game kind of washes over a person.
Right.
Like they don't, those 4 games.
Oh, man. That was a deal breaker for Mike Huber. They got the physical copy with the bundle correct for Mario Kart 8, but then when he said a digital download, he's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, it's $29 too much, and I don't want no digital game. I was like, whoa.
That's worth bringing up. So Michael Huber has been wanting a Wii U for a long time. He knows it's too expensive, which is probably a rational thought. He said, if they make a $300 Wii U bundle, I will buy it.
And it has to be a physical game, though.
Yeah.
It cannot be a digital download,
so
Zelda.
They did $330, and it's just like, well, Huber, you are getting extra stuff for that $30. And he says, it's not about what you get out of it, it's what you spend at the store. And that was I thought that was really astute. That is that. When a person sees $330, it still looks like $350. It still looks like a lot of money. And I don't think that was the right way to bundle this console. It really bums me out.
I get that 2 in the first number slot.
Get that 2 in the first number slot.
Well, right, because here's the thing. If you're going to buy a Mario Kart bundle, and you either A, you already have a Wii remote. Why do you need another Wii remote? Most likely.
Oh, 2 players, bro. 2 or 3.
Well, you already have Wii remotes. I have 4 Wii remotes at home.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you already have your Wii stuff.
Why not put a Pro controller in there? Because either way, either don't put a Pro controller in there and have it at $300, or don't put a Wii remote in there. Either way, if somebody needs more controllers, if they're buying Mario Kart to play multiplayer, they're going to go and spend more money on controllers.
Yeah.
This doesn't make that much sense. Like, even Nintendo is like not really doing much with motion controls anymore. It's just like throwing in a Wii remote, a motion controller, and giving you the Wii. It's just weird for them to do that. It's like, no, I think you guys have Nintendo. Seems like they've accepted to some degree that people prefer playing with like a normal interface at this point with the Wii U game. So putting in the Wii remote and the wheel, it's like, it feels like a Hail Mary thing. Oh, it worked once before. Remember all those weird, crazy peripherals that sold the games?
It's the opposite of a Hail Mary. It's a safe play. It's like, this did work before, it'll work again. And it's like, no, it won't.
Well, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
they read your defense.
Yeah, what is the opposite of the Hail Mary? Suicide?
It's the little QB sneak. He's doing they're trying to QB sneak right now.
Run up the middle. Yeah. Run up the middle. Halfback dive.
Yeah, I don't know what the opposite of Hail Mary is. That's funny. Yeah, that's depressing news to finish on, but that is what we're finishing on. To our closing bet this week, I want to talk about this Call of Duty reveal. I think it's going to be more than just a trailer. I don't think they would be hyping up a Sunday at 10 a.m. kind of thing just for a trailer. Basically, no one...
Sunday at 10 a.m.? What the heck?
Yeah,
Our
what the
time
heck
or
indeed.
East Coast?
I think East Coast time. I'm actually not sure which time. We'll put it up on the screen. But, oh, shoot, no, there are people listening.
Hey, guys, I got to wake up early. That Call of Duty thing's happening in the morning.
That's not that early. Who says, oh, man, 10 a.m., this is late?
But it's not during one of the NBA playoff games.
Yeah, exactly. Sunday at 10 a.m. is when they're doing this event. That's crazy to me, first of all. PT. All right, so it's 1 a.m. Eastern time.
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Eastern time. What if I just said everything right for an episode? That'd be fun. So anyway, they're doing that thing. They're doing this big reveal. I think it's going to be more than just a trailer. I think it's going to be kind of that thing where, remember when they're showing the fish AI? That all came from that Jeff Keighley event, I think. I think it all came from there.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be similar to that, is my suspicion. So here's this week's bet because of that. How many times do you think they will use the word drama in this event, in this reveal? Brandon, because you keep losing, you get to choose whether you want to go first or last?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Twice.
All right. Shoot, I'll say 5. I'll go high.
Did they say what station this is going to be on?
What station?
Yeah, like where's it actually happening on TV?
Not
Not on TV. Sorry,
it's
not on
online.
TV at all.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
it's online.
Never mind, because it's going to be on TNT. I was going to say 1.
Why?
Because we know drama is their logo.
Stop it.
So you should guess my guess. It's going to be 0. They're not going to say it once.
And they won't say drama. Yeah, 0 is a safe
0.
one.
Mike's going to win again.
Well, I'm just going to go high. I'm going to say 10 times.
10 times. I like that bet. Sure. Okay, so we're locked in. Lock those in. We'll see what happens Sunday at 10 a.m. I'm really curious. Will any of you watch this thing 10 a.m. on Sunday?
No.
At 10 a.m.?
No,
I'll watch it later.
I'll be doing production at church or something similar. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be watching it just out of weird curiosity, and what a weird guy. So last week's bet was about the reveal trailer, not reveal trailer, launch trailer for Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Pissed I lost this.
And how long it would be. Yeah, I mean,
You really threw me a bone on this one, Kyle.
I threw Brandon a bone. Brandon knows trailers, still couldn't win this bet. Michael Damiani won our bet. He guessed in 1 minute and 27 seconds. Actual length of the trailer, 1 minute 26 seconds. He was only 1 second off.
You got that extra boost from the mobile trailer included at the end.
That is true. They included like a little bit of like, hey, and you can get it on your phone. And it's a completely different game, but they did include that at the end.
Yeah, it was weird because they basically had ended the trailer. And then they started again with the mobile game.
Yeah, but we
have
to
count
count
How long was it without the mobile?
It doesn't matter. That's like it's part of the trailer,
Very
part
close.
of it officially. You still win.
So close.
All right, so
I think Jones might have won if they didn't include that.
no, Jones
was
was high.
45.
Yeah, he was real high. It would have been blood.
Oh, I thought you guessed
It was
lower.
higher red.
Yeah. So you've earned the right to close us out, and and also plug a video of your own.
Awesome. So I just
Okay.
say goodbye and we're done, right?
Yeah, or you could do that.
Because Kyle loves when people do that. This is the best thing. No, so I do read the comments too, like some of the people here, and I'm routinely referred to as the hat guy.
Yeah.
The hat
So
guy.
I'm a hat guy.
Yeah.
So I figured this would be a good time to actually say I work on other stuff. So you should go watch either Pop Fiction or Timeline. But if you want a specific thing, you should go watch the last episode of Pop Fiction, which is about my crazy theory about how Star Fox and F-Zero universes might be connected. It's totally insane, and it's 100% not true. But it's still fun to think of crazy stuff like that. You could call it like a fan fiction episode. People are calling it like what? Pop fiction. Pop fan fiction was the name for the episode around here. So yeah, you should go check that out. I think you'll at least enjoy it, even though it's not the typical episode. Once again, please follow us on Twitter if you like us. Our Twitter handles are appearing somewhere right now. Here or up here, whichever you want to do. But yeah, we'll be back next Friday on our new day. Hope you like us being on Friday, and see you next week.
That was good. It was like 3 minutes of a close, but it's still pretty good.
People would lose their minds, lose their minds, lose their minds, lose their minds, lose their